Let's get something out of the way first. No making fun of my body. I'm on the back end of recovery from my collarbone break. My shoulder and chest work has been extremely limited. I've also gained a few pounds from the recovery, and I'm working on that. Hey cycling community, this is Steve Grusis, the Cycling Greek. I would love to develop a boatload of strength from doing squats and deadlifts, but I know I can't because I can't lift heavy weights in these movements, primarily because of various limiters that I have, for example, my lower back. If I chose not to do these movements, my limiters would never leave. If light weights is all I can do, then light weights is all I will do. I'm doing sets of 5. I rest about 3 minutes between each set, especially in the lighter weights. As it gets heavier, I rest a little more. I add a little weight each time. As it gets heavier, I'll cut it down to sets of 3, maybe 2. Even though I do this movement just once a week, I am still gaining strength. I do these workouts at the beginning of the week so I don't kill my legs for my main workout the following weekend. Not only am I gaining strength, I am gaining balance. Cycling is a linear sport. Basically, you're sitting on your butt and you're going forward. There's a lot of muscles that don't get utilized or get underutilized. Squats is a great compound movement that activates everything in an even fashion, especially for using good form. There are 2 main reasons to work on balance using these movements that I can think of. The first is injury prevention. With the repetitive nature of our sport, sometimes we encounter an overuse injury. The muscle that may be hurting is probably not the muscle that's the cause. For example, let's take the vastus medialis. It's that big teardrop-shaped muscle that's right above the knee. Let's say it's starting to hurt whenever you apply a little more pressure to the pedal. Maybe it's starting to cramp when you really don't expect it to. The problem may not be that muscle. It may be the adductor that's right above it. Perhaps it was asked to do more than it was appropriately capable of doing, and therefore it shut off, or was not able to contribute as much as it should have been able to. What happens then? The vastus starts to do the work that the adductor is supposed to do, but the vastus is not designed to do that. So then the vastus quickly fatigues, ergo the pain. And that's right, I got to say ergo. And then it can get a little more complicated. Say your quad in your right leg is hurting. Well, the cause could be something in your left leg. That one can take a little more detective work. So now the second reason for doing these balance promoting exercises. Use it or lose it. How often have you seen an older individual and they just don't seem steady when they're walking? It's more likely because they have a lot of what I'll call their smaller muscles, their balance muscles, that just haven't been challenged. After years of inactivity or at least not working out appropriately, then this becomes evident. Let's look at the other end of the body. Have you ever noticed an older individual or even a middle-aged individual where they have that hump right below their neck? More than likely, not enough work has gone into developing the posterior chain. Without proper support of their upper back muscles, their head starts to fall forward. They start to get little microfractures in their vertebrae. The hump will ever so slightly start to develop. Those microfractures will heal. Later, they'll get more microfractures. The hump will start to become a little more pronounced. Those microfractures will heal. Unless there's positive intervention by appropriately challenging the posterior chain, this process will continue. This is part of the reason why I do what I do. When I'm old and decrepit, I don't want to act old and decrepit. I have a little over 1 set to go. So tell me, what type of weight work do you do? How many times a week do you do it? Do you find that it affects your cycling? Do you do any yoga? I like the concept of yoga, but never got into it. Although I am starting to do some movements, my own version of the movement sometimes. For those of you who are in the gym doing legs, when does your race season start? How soon before the race season do you shut off leg work? I hope you enjoyed the video and got something out of it. Remember, comment, like, subscribe. The Cycling Greek.